Today we're going to look at how you can tell in SQL Server which tables are newer and which ones are older. But before we get started, why would you do that? Who cares when they were created? Well, you might not care when different types of tables were created, but if they're all different versions of the same table, like in this example, look at all these that start with employee info. You know that like somebody took the real table and they started messing around with it and they renamed it. Like this employee info back, that probably used to be the real table and then maybe somebody changed the schema or added a field or who knows what they did. Here's another one. Underscore temp, that's not very helpful. Underscore Jim, Jim was doing something, Jim's on vacation. Underscore Rakesh, Rakesh was doing something, he's on vacation too. We should fire them both when they get back. Except they don't really exist, I just made up the names. Employee info 1 and employee info 2, those are the least helpful renamings ever. So anyway, if we need to do something with the real table, you have to assume it's probably this one, but if you don't really know, maybe this is a development server, but you still need to know, and you don't know. But what you're trying to find out is, well, which one is the newest, meaning, that must be the freshest one. How would you do that? And that's what we're talking about today. So in SQL Server, we have to use a table called sysobjects. Now you notice it starts with sys. That's short for system. This is a system table. There's a bunch of system tables, and system tables are how an RDBMS or a database system like SQL Server keeps track of everything. Okay? So what happens when we do select from sysobjects? Well, if you notice, there's a bunch of fields. We're not going to look at all of them, but there are a bunch. A lot of them, don't really get used a whole lot. But the most important ones that we care about, of course, are name. Now, ID is important, but we don't really care about that for this. We do care about X type, and we definitely care about CR date, which is the create date. Now, X type could just be called type, but they probably use that word for something else, so they call it X type. Anything where the X type is set to an S is a system table. Let's go down a few pages. Now look at this. Now things are starting to get interesting. See, we have employee info temp, employee info back, blah, 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 employee info 1, employee info 2. Do you notice that with all these ones that are the names of our tables, the X type is set to U? Well, what does that stand for? Because you would think it would be T for table. Well, it's not. It's U for user table. User table means that you created it, or a human being created, or a monkey, if a monkey knows how to do this. Some of my coworkers could be monkeys. But anyway, so here we have S for a system table, and here we have U for a user table. That's why they don't just use T for table, because there's different types of tables. And in your spare time, you should look at what all these different X types mean. Some of them you'll never care about. But right now, see, this doesn't help us because we're looking at too much information. So let's go to this next window. See, now what we did is we're just selecting from the sysobjects where the X type equals U. So now we have all of our user tables. Now remember, in a real system, there could be dozens, if not hundreds, of tables. So this is easy for us to look at just because it's a demo. But we're still looking at too much information because I got to tell you, this is not helpful. I know the X type is a U. I just went there, and I don't care about the ID for what I'm doing, and I don't care about all this stuff. So let's just go over here. See, now, instead of selecting star, now all I'm doing is I'm selecting name and CR date. This is perfect, almost. So we have the names of the tables and when they were created. Isn't this helpful? But it could be a whole... See, but what I hate about this is that the dates are all mixed up. Actually, they're not as mixed up as you might think, but they're still kind of mixed up. What I want to do is I want to order this. I want to have the newest, freshest table first, and then the oldest I want down at the bottom. So now, lastly, what we're going to do is we're going to say order by the second field. We're using an ordinal here, not the field name. That could be good or bad. It's good when you're lazy and in a hurry. It's bad when you add fields in the select statement and forget to change this. But anyway, this works for now. So the CR date is going to be descending. So we see here that the last one created was by this villain named Rakesh. What a scoundrel. And then this Jim, he's a menace too. What were they doing? We don't know, because they're on vacation. Not together, they went separate places. You should make a note to fire them when they get back, unless they brought you a present from their trip. Now, it needs to be at least $50. Okay, so basically, here, employee info, this is not the newest table, but at least it's the newest table that doesn't have some junk designation at the end of it, so this is probably the one you want. In real life, you're always going to have to kind of figure this out, but this is how you can tell which tables were created at what time. It's the CR date, so it's the CR date of sysobjects where the X type equals U, and that's all that there is to it. If you like this video, please hit that like button, and if you like more videos like this, please consider subscribing. Really appreciate it. It helps the channel. Thanks, and have a great day.